Hey everybody, we're down here at the farmhouse again. We were sitting there at the dinner table tonight talking about how old this structure is, and it's somewhere between 160 180 years old. That's pretty daggone old. Then we got to thinking about the workmanship that had to go into this house to make it like it is, and it reminded me of a story about Carl Wilson. And Carl was a carpenter, as fine an artsman as you could ever make. And he built houses for 4.5 decades before his wife asked him to retire. Only worked for two builders, and one of those he outlived. But Carl was the kind of guy that was such a master craftsman that his employer would hand him a blueprint, hand him a checkbook, and a location, and says, build this house. He bought all of his own materials, he hired his own people. He was taught by an old German craftsman one time, and says, always nail your own nail with your own hammer. So there was never a power hammer used or anything like that, a nail gun, anything like that. It was all hand built into the finest standards. So when Carl got done with the house, it was basically a home. I mean, you didn't have to worry about anything. It had that feeling of comfort and that security. Carl's wife got after him and says, while you're still in good health, let's retire and maybe we can travel or just relax. You've worked so hard all your life. So he went to his employer and told him, he says, hey, when I finish this house, I'm going to retire. I won't be building anymore. Well, it shocked the guy, needless to say. But when he went in and turned the keys in on this last house, the guy says, can you do me one favor? I know I've never asked of anything of you, but he says, could you make me one more house? And Carl said, well, I've already told everybody I'm done. He says, please, for me as a favor, build me one more house. So Carl said, okay, and he gave him the blueprints to the house he liked, told him where just go ahead and do it like you always did. Carl already set his mind up, I'm done, I want to get out of this. But he thought, okay, I'll build one more house. Well, all this craftsmen that he had worked for him has already taken on new jobs because he'd given forewarning and they all moved on. So he hired people that he wouldn't have hired before. Still good with carpenters and plumbers and electricians or anything, but not the kind that he always had before. He had to settle. He settled for people that didn't work up to his clientele or his way he wanted things done. Built a house. You see a mistake one of the carpenters did, we can cover that with sheetrock. Let's just get it done and move on. So he gets the thing done. Most people would not see the problems in that house, but Carl, because he was the one that built it. He gets all done. He takes the keys back to the employer and says, here's your keys, we're done. The employer says, well, thank you, Carl. I really appreciate you doing me that favor. Now, here's your keys. And he says, what are you talking about? He says, I let you build your retirement home. This is my gift to you. Carl kind of dropped his head and he passed a tear or two, and he says, well, Carl, don't cry. He says, you've made me a lot of money so I can afford to do this. And Carl didn't want to tell him that the main reason he was kind of crying is because the first time he ever settled on his workmanship, now he was going to have to live in it the rest of his life. He knew where the bad places was. You couldn't see them for most people, but he knew himself. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't settle. In your life, whatever you do, don't settle. And the food for thought for this is, our integrity is our legacy. So I don't care if you're a house builder, a farmer, a daycare worker for somebody's kids. People come back and do business with you because of your integrity. And when you settle, then you not only hurt yourself, but the people that you're representing. So just remember, from somebody that worked hard all their life, your integrity is your legacy. This is Stacey Zaring, coming from the farmhouse in Greenwood. Good night.